The hiring of receivers coach Holmon Wiggins is going to take this Texas A&M wide receiver room to the next level.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. And ladies and gentlemen, Mike Elko just brought in a hire that I am through the roof excited about. And it seems like everybody is. This hire of Holmon Wiggins, bringing him in from Alabama, is a home run splash. Looking at what he has done as a coach, as a developer, as a recruiter is pretty impressive. So when it comes to Holmon Wiggins and his career as a coach, he was at Memphis from 2012, 2015, moves on to Virginia Tech from 2015, 2018, and then he was in Bama from 19 to now. And I mean, just bullet points. This guy can recruit, and he's not out here just recruiting receivers. He's helped recruit. He's like the recruiting guy at Bama. He is an incredible recruiter. And I don't listen. For those that say, well, Alabama sells itself, that crowd, which yes, it's Alabama. They're great. They have a lot of great, coaches and players and NFL talent. Yes, I get all that. But if you can recruit, you can recruit. And Holmon Wiggins can recruit. I don't care that he was at Alabama. I don't want to see that. I haven't seen that. I'm just saying I don't want to see that pop up. That, well, Holmon Wiggins, well, he's at Bama. It's not hard to recruit receivers at Bama. Look what they've done. I don't want to hear any of that because this guy can recruit at a high level. And he's going to come in and do that at Texas A&M. So I think the reason that Holmon Wiggins elevates this wide receiver room is, and it's that sweet spot that we discuss so often here at Locked On Aggies of development and recruiting. Okay, that is how he's going to elevate this wide receiver room. I think he's going to be developing and recruiting the right talent. One thing that I think there's a difference. Coaches, and this is a little bit, I'm trying not to bash Coach Fisher a ton, but you can go recruit a player for stars, or you can go recruit a player for upside talent and what you see in them. Now, I'm not saying that Coach Fisher was like, that guy's got 5 stars, go get him, didn't turn on tape and didn't watch games. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that because that's not true. But what I am saying is it's pretty clear that Texas A&M has swung and missed on a handful of highly ranked players. I think it's time to start, getting players that I'm not saying don't get a 5-star. I'm just saying let's start having a coach and having a staff that can pick out the right guys that are going to be hits, that are going to be, high 4 stars, 5-star players that are going to be incredible football players. And I'm not saying that you can look into the future with the crystal ball and go, okay, this guy's going to be an incredible college player and move on to the NFL. But I just think you can see the traits. You can see the way people, they carry themselves. It's not just on the field, it's off the field. Stuff like that can help what the guys you want on your roster. And I just think I think Holmon Wiggins is going to bring that. He's going to elevate this wide receiver room with a perfect mix of development and recruiting. And then, like I said, the recruiting is not just going to be the wide receiver room. I think he's going to recruit all over the place. I think he's just an incredible coach, an incredible recruiter, an incredible developer. And I am ecstatic, frankly ecstatic to see what he is going to do during his time at Texas A&M. So there's some rumors floating around that maybe could he come in immediately and flip some 24 guys? Could he come in and hit the portal hard? I think so. Like once again, I think that he's going to get to College Station, and he's not going to be thinking of not about sleep, not about getting moved into his new house. I think he's going to be thinking about recruiting immediately. He just seems like that type of guy that is just like, hey, we got a job to do, and we got a job to do well, and I got to recruit. So if you could flip some 24 guys, that'd be great. That to me is the way that this 24 class went south for Texas A&M, was all the receivers you lost. I'm not as much worried about a Hornsby and a Gatling as obviously I am a Draylon Miller and a Cam Coleman. Those are the guys we're concerned about losing. So, can you go and salvage? Can you go flip a kid that hasn't signed yet? Can you go, that's planning to sign in February? Can you make a move there? That's what I want to. I'm ecstatic to see. And then can he? We've talked about wanting to go get one more guy in the portal. Can he go get one more really good guy in the portal? That is another thing that I'm frankly really excited to see from Coach Wiggins. So yeah, I think development wise, I think recruiting wise, I think turning players into, he's developed NFL talent. I still think per capita, the talent from, Texas A&M to the NFL during the Fisher era wasn't what we expected it to be. I'm not saying, obviously Devon Achane goes and has a great year. I'm not saying it's non-existent. I'm just saying, I think that talent wise, it maybe wasn't where it should have been. And I think that this new coaching staff and Wiggins himself are going to be a big reason why Texas A&M is turning a ton of, college players into NFL players. And that's just another, NFL talent, recruiting, development, 5 stars. That is what you're going to get from Holmon Wiggins. And it's going to be a really exciting thing to watch. And I think that it's such an important position. Receiver is a position where you just have to be good. In a football game, you can have a great rushing attack. You can have all that, but receivers are so important. Being able to, in a tight football game, push the football down the field with some talented playmakers in the wide receiver room, that is so important. So that's why, you just got to be better at that position. I've talked about, I don't think that in the previous regime, the wide receiver development was quite there. Some guys that have left in the portal, some stuff there. I don't think that was where it needed to be. And I feel very confident that the development of this position is in great hands with Coach Holmon Wiggins. So that is so important, is development. We can sit here and we can talk all day long, but at the end of the day, plain and simple, what is going to make or break this coaching staff, what is going to make or break the future of Texas A&M football is how this staff can develop the talent they're recruiting. I don't care, about stars. I don't care about this. I don't care about any of it. I don't care about any of that. I care about the roster you're going to have. Can you take these players and can you make them better through the strength and conditioning program with Coach Moffitt, through, your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator, your position coach? Can these guys take the talent they are getting and develop it to the next level of a football player? That is what will make or break this staff. And the hire of Holmon Wiggins makes me 5 more levels more confident in how successful this staff will be at doing that. I like everything about this hire. And I know every Texas A&M fan feels the same way. Twitter blew up. People are excited. Pulling a staffer away from Alabama that's a good coach, a good recruiter, and it makes a team in your conference worse, and it makes you better. Plain and simple. I love this hire, ladies and gentlemen, and I know everybody else does as well. Let me know in the comments, how do we feel about this hire? Is Coach Wiggins going to be able to develop and recruit like I believe he will? Let me know those things in the comments. I love this, ladies and gentlemen. I just woke up in a great mood today, excited to talk about Holmon Wiggins. This is a big deal, and I'm excited to see how he does in Texas at Texas A&M. The Aggies have 2 visitors coming up from in portal players that I am incredibly excited about. We're going to talk about those 2 guys coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at LinkedIn Jobs. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one move I can make that'll take my business to the next level in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has created the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn Jobs, it's one of those services, one of those companies, one of those apps that I just can't sit here and talk enough good about. Something I've used. We're looking for some writers right now, and LinkedIn Jobs is a way we're gonna try and find some new perfect fits for our company. And it's easy to use. It helps connect employers with people for the positions open at their company, and it helps connect people looking for a job with a job that suits them and fits them perfectly. I love LinkedIn. It is a great app, a great service that can help you hire, can help you find a job. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Texas A&M has 2 visitors coming up that I am incredibly excited about. The first is Nick Carraway from Purdue. We are trying to bring him home. We all know who this guy is. Talented player out of high school. Started at Purdue. I'm trying to pull up his stats real quick. I can't spell Purdue today. There we go. So you've already brought in one Purdue player in Garrett Miller, the tight end. So now you are trying to bring in another. And frankly, in all honesty, just looking at this edition, the way I look at this, my original thought here is this is a guy I think that you need to go and get. Where did I get Carraway from? I don't. It's Nick Scorton. I don't know. What did I write down? Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Scorton is the player I'm talking about. I was looking through the roster, like, where is this guy? Who is this? What's going on? So, my bad. Nick Scorton is the guy. Bryan, Texas. We all know him. Now I want to know where I got that from. I don't know. Beside the point. But so Nick Scorton, the Purdue pass rusher, 6'4", 280 pounds. Listen, 10 sacks last season for the Boilermakers in the Big Ten. He had 50 total tackles, 10 sacks, 1 forced fumble. I mean, he had a couple sacks in 2022. Just look at the numbers. I mean, we've talked about go get somebody that has proved they can do this, right? Okay, well, let's look at this. He had 2 sacks against Michigan, 1 sack against Ohio State. He had 2 sacks against Indiana, a half sack against Nebraska. I mean, he just gets after the pass rusher. It's so easy to look at this and get excited about Nick Scorton. Ladies and gentlemen, I just can't get over why I wrote. Where did they? You know what I mean? You ever just do something and you're like, where did I get that from? Why did I write that down? I don't know. I find that so funny because like I knew exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm like, why do I write that down? I don't know. I just find that to be funny. But this is a guy visiting, I believe, today. Let me double check on that. But yeah, I believe visiting today, the 3rd. Let me pull that up. And looking at he's going to be on campus today. And at the end of the day, this is a guy that comes in. We've talked about needing some edge rushers, needing some defensive linemen. Not a ton, maybe like one addition at each kind of inside, outside. And Nick Scorton would be the perfect fit to what you need. A guy proven at the Power 5 level that he can get after the pass rusher. If you can get after the quarterback against Michigan, against Ohio State, you can do it against some of the talented teams in the SEC. He would come in and immediately start. In my opinion, he would come in and immediately, I think, be one of the better pass rushers in the SEC. That's how talented I think he is. And if you can land him, I think this kid could be an All-American. I think this could be a game changer. He's an NFL player in the future. Needs to be. I know that we don't look at edge rusher and kind of that position, defensive line, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it. We don't look at that that is obviously not the number one portal position we need. It's not. I would rank them corner and offensive line hand in hand. But Nick Scorton is a guy that if you can land him, I mean, he can change. I think he can change this defense. I think he can come in and be an absolute menace next season. All SEC, All-American type football player at Texas A&M. So I think you got to go and land him. You got to do everything. You got to do everything you can. He's here today. Okay. See, his Twitter says Nick Carraway. Okay, I feel a little bit better. I was like, why did I do that? Feel better. Feel better about it now. But he's got some other places he plans to visit. But, he's going to be at Texas A&M, and I think you got to go and hit a home run here. He's got, like I said, he's got some other places he wants to visit in the ACC, but according to multiple people, he is going to be, he plans to visit. He's at Texas A&M. So you got to go get this guy. I'll just lay it out there. I think if you swing and miss on this, is it the end of the world? No, but I think he is a guy that is going to go somewhere, and I think be one of the best players. If he's in the ACC, SEC, wherever he transfers to, I think he'll be one of the best players in the conference and one of the sack leaders. And I don't think you want to see him walk out that door and go somewhere else. So go get this guy. Go land this guy. Bring in Nick Scorton. I just think that he makes this team so much better. The other player is interior offensive lineman from Ohio, Kurt Danneker. He plans to visit Texas A&M, 6'4", 332 pounds. I challenge y'all to do this. Go look at the photograph of him where I'm going to pull it up again so I can look at it, so I can perfectly explain it. I need to explain it well. I mean, it's just like, oh, here it is. Here it is. He's got the eye black, it's like war paint. It's like if you're lined up across from him, 6'4", 332 pounds. I apologize for you. I apologize to you that you have to deal with that. I think he's a guy, and he made it very clear in a quote. He's also going to visit Baylor. He made it very clear in a quote here. This is from Pete Nakos at On3, and it says, he has full faith that either one could develop him into NFL talent. That's what this guy wants. He wants to be an NFL player, and he thinks that going to a Baylor or a Texas A&M is where he needs to go, but he can develop into an NFL offensive lineman. With this new staff, I do believe that is a reality. And I believe he's a guy, an immediate starter and immediately makes your football team better. He graded out of the 76.8 last season on PFF. These two guys, both of them, not just one of them, both of them need to be on this roster next year. You know that this is serious because they are planning to visit. This is no joke. It's not like, they are interested in playing at Texas A&M, but you got to go get them. If you go get these two guys, if you go get Nick Scorton and Kurt Danneker, I think those two additions, there are so many additions left to be made in the portal. I think you could still see 10 more guys come in. But these two guys right here make this roster better. I'm trying to fully explain how, they make this roster not only better, but a lot better. Just two players. It upgrades your offensive line. It upgrades your defensive line, edge rusher. Nick Scorton can get after the quarterback, and Kurt Danneker can stop opposing teams from getting after the quarterback and can run block. At the end of the day, these two additions would make this football team a lot better, and you got to go get them. If they're going to be on campus, they're interested, you got to close. If this staff can get these two guys, it is going to be so huge for the outlook of this team in 2024. It's just two guys that have played college football. Scorton at the Power 5 level, Danneker at Ohio, but have proven they can play. If you go get these guys, it makes this team a ton better next season. Hopefully we hear these visits go well. These are going to be two guys that I talk about a ton, and hopefully we land them. If we do, we will have a party. If not, we will feel an immense amount of pain. But those two guys, names to remember, visits coming up, pay attention to those two names. These guys can be on the roster next year and are going to make Texas A&M a lot better if the staff can get it done. We're going to talk a little bit about the running game and why it needs to be better next season. We'll have that conversation coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. So, the addition of Coach Klein to be the OC, I think that he's going to have to kind of take this roster, take this team. Obviously, he's going to make some additions. He's going to get some players. He's going to get some offensive linemen to create holes. But I think, as a coach, there's no secret. You come into a situation and you look at the cards you dealt and you say, okay, how can I make this roster better? How can I make this team better? And I think that you have to look at the yards per carry on the ground and go, this is not where it needs to be. The Aggies were rushed for 3.88 yards per carry last season, which was only better than Arkansas, Vandy, and South Carolina in the SEC. That's just not where it needs to be. You've got the guys up front, size, talent. You got to get some more development on the offensive line, and you've got to help these running backs. I believe that playing the running back position is so instinctual. It's so, you see a hole and you cut. It's so reaction. Talented running backs like Reuben Owens and the guys on this roster, they can do that. They've been doing that for a long time. So I believe that. And are they going to make some mistakes here and there? Yes. I'm not putting this all on the offensive line. I want to make that very clear. Last year, there were some times the running backs made the wrong play, made the wrong cut, didn't see the hole. That stuff happens. It's not all on the offensive line. But I do think the offensive line needs to be better creating space in this run game. I think the run game, the scheme, the plan, all needs to be better. And I think Coach Klein is going to look at that and fix it. You don't want to be in the bottom of the barrel in yards per carry in the SEC. This is the SEC. You're supposed to be able to play defense and run the football. Those are two things that you got to do if you want to play football in the SEC. And last year, the Aggies didn't run the football like they should. They had the talent to run the football at a very high level and did not do it. So, I want to see this. I want to see this be improved with Coach Klein. I want to see this be improved when he is when he is figuring out this offense, What's the future going to look like? I think obviously there's some stuff in the passing game. Got to get, these receivers ready to go. But I think developing an offensive line that can create holes in the run game while protecting your quarterback is going to be a very important priority for Coach Klein. And like I said, I do think that yards per carry is something that has to be better next year. Balance, we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Balance on offense is something that has to be better. So if Coach Klein can find a way to get the most out of this running game next season, which he's got the talent in the running back room to do it, and I think he'll have the talent in the offensive line room to do it. So if you can make the yards per carry on the ground better, if you can make this offense more balanced and help this team run the football better, Texas A&M's offense will be a whole lot better in 2024. That is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank you all so much for being here every single day. Like I said, a big hire in Holmon Wiggins, Nick Scorton, Kurt Danneker, big visits coming up for those guys, players that are going to come in and really help this full team if you can get them. Those are the storylines today to follow. See how these visits go, stuff to track, and then if Texas A&M can land Danneker and Scorton, it's going to be a very, very, very good day. That's going to do it for today's episode. Like I said, everybody have a great rest of your day today, and we will see you tomorrow